an advocate against domestic violence, hoping to create a home for victims here in Pensacola.
And when I turned back around, a shotgun was facing me and he shot me.
Williams was shot in the stomach, killing her unborn baby she had named Jamie.
She saved my life. You're not alone. You're not alone. And if I came out, you can come out.
Well, good afternoon. Welcome to another edition of Normal Silence. I got my co-host on this afternoon, this evening, Mrs. Carolyn Williams. Hello, Caroline.
Hello, Vernon. How you doing?
I am well. How about you? How was your month?
I'm doing okay. I got a little fracture here, broke a bone, skating and trying to save a little boy, but it's okay. It's all good.
Well, you here. That's a good
Yeah,
thing.
I'm here. Yeah, it could have been worse. I'm here.
Yeah, you sure are. You got a special guest with me today. I don't see her microphone on, but hopefully that she's on. Can you introduce our special guest?
Yeah, she's been with us before, and I had to have her back again. It's none other than Dr. Tawana Hall. Dr. T is with us tonight. Yeah.
Hey, Dr. T.
Well, hello. Good evening, everybody. How you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you today?
Doing wonderful. Doing wonderful.
Very good. Very good. Ladies, I tell you the truth. Carolyn, we bring this subject on because it's so vitally important that we talk about the subject of domestic violence. And it's apparently is an epidemic in our country. So I'm going to turn it over to you and Dr. House to talk about domestic violence. And also we have learned also very recently, Florida had passed a new law. Y'all might want to talk to them about the new law that's affecting domestic violence and so forth. Okay.
Okay. So, Dr. Tawana, I am so glad that you are with us tonight, because I've been having a lot of people that have been confronting me about, some of the effects that they have after domestic violence. But before we get into that, Dr. Tawana, I want to say to you personally, I want to say thank you. Thank you for what you're doing, because you're talking about mental health, and you're talking about, the church, and we can use God along with mental health. And so because you've been talking about that, I have been going to my doctor, and I was talking to my doctor, and we had a session for like 2.5. He's spiritual, and we had a session, and he was talking to me. He was saying, Carolyn, I really think you need to go get counseling. And I'm like, go get counseling. It's been like during that time, it had been 47. Jamie would have been 47 years old this year at 48. But anyway, when he said that to me and we was talking, and he told me, and because he could see the signs that I was dealing with trauma and some of the things that was coming up. And, when I was talking to him and I told him, I said, you know what? I say, Dr. Willis, I say, I have this young lady that I know, and she's just, she's on a move trying to get the church and the church to join in with spiritual and mental health. And I said, I've been listening to what she had to say, and because of you, I want to say thank you. And I really appreciate what you're doing, and keep doing what you're doing. Everybody's not going to be for it, but some people are. So keep doing what you're doing. So when they was telling me about asking me these questions, and I was talking to my therapist, and I say, why now? I say, it's been 47 years. Why now? Why am I feeling this guilt now? Why am I feeling what I'm feeling now? And she was telling me, she said, because you're in counseling now. It was there all along. And she was saying something about how your brain, how it tries to protect you. And so I want you to speak to the audience about that. Talk to us about, they think because, you're coping, because, Oh, woman of God, I've been preaching. I've been telling my testimony for years. You know?
Me because doing the work that God has given me to do, it hasn't been easy. It's a challenging road because a lot of what He's given me to do is challenging a lot of what has been previously established, previously has been really really just filtrated through the church for years, and now is basically scrapping everything, saying that it's okay to have your faith as well as your therapist, as well
Yeah.
as being knowing there's a spirituality and mental health intersection. So thank you, and your story is one of the reasons why I keep going. So thank you for that. Um, One of the things that I think what people don't realize is that when we talk about spirit, soul, and body, we
Mm-hmm.
tend to try to keep we try to keep we try to
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Almost like we kind of psych ourselves out thinking, okay, if we talk about it, then I should be okay, right? But that's not necessarily the case. The thing is that you can talk about what happened to you, and you can even be in the place of strength where it doesn't maybe hurt or what have you. But if you haven't dealt with the emotions that were associated with the event, if you don't really, because really, the truth be told, that when you really have gotten to a place of freedom to be able to tell your story when there's a certain amount of pain that doesn't hurt anymore, or
Yeah.
when the emotions come, they're not as overwhelming as they once were. But there's still that feeling of living like in that moment, kind of living like you were just there. And I think the thing is that we have to understand that, yeah, we can tell our testimony and there's nothing wrong with that, but there's still an ongoing healing process behind the scenes. I lost my 18-year-old son 5 years ago, and I do talk
Mm-hmm.
about that testimony, but I still deal with the fact that it still hurts that he's not here. It still hurts that I feel like I was robbed of an opportunity to develop a close friendship with him that I'll never have experienced. I feel like the person that felt it was okay to lace fentanyl in something and he didn't know what it was just totally wrong. I still feel in some ways it's unfair. But what
Yeah.
I've learned is to channel that energy into something positive to help other parents, to help other young people realize the dangers of what's out there in the work that I do. Because even though I may not have been able to save my son because of a choice, at least I could be out there to share my story and say, hey, maybe through me telling you this, you might be able to help your child. You might be able
Mm-hmm.
to save your son, or I can, talk to the children and to the young people and say, hey, listen, it ain't safe out there like that. Not everything is like, you can be okay with. It can literally mean your life. So, I think there's still that even though we may tell our testimonies and we may be open with it, we don't need to psych ourselves out thinking that, okay, I'm good because I'm talking about it. Not necessarily. You could talk about it. That's part of the process. There's still a work in processing your emotions that happens every day.
Yeah.
And I
Hey,
think that's the
Carolyn.
people on realize happy every day. Mhm.
Uh, 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 Doc, could you bring your camera down just a little bit? It's a little bit too high for me. Right there. Thank you. Okay. I'm sorry. That was just a program note I had to get in. Thank you. Okay, back to you, Carolyn.
Okay. So to one of what, like I said, I was telling my testimony and I'm thinking that, that I'm okay. How do you know that you're not okay? What are some of those signs that let you know you're not okay?
Well, I mean, for example, I call it early warning signs. That's what we call it in our wellness recovery action plan, which is kind of like a crisis plan a program that we teach people on developing proactively their crisis plan before a crisis happens, right? Um, you have to know the difference of what you are when you're well and what you are when you're not well. A lot of
Mm,
times it happens in subtle ways, whereas maybe normally you may be one that's usually calm, cool, and collected when certain things come up, but maybe someone was talking about something that may be not even related to anything that the trauma was with you. But for whatever reason, it hit a button and you go off. Or maybe it's something that, ooh, you felt some type of way about that. And normally you may have not. There's another button. Or it could be there's so many different things, but it really takes really a self-awareness, and sometimes it could be people around you to say, wait a minute, you're normally not like that. Like I had that recently happen to me. You're not one of my mentors said to me, listen, you're normally not like that, Tawana.
wow.
What's up? Right? And so I would just say that in some cases we may not necessarily detect it ourselves. Sometimes it has to be others around us that love us enough to tell the truth and say, no, you're not. You're not yourself. What's up? What's going on? Because to you, you may think it's normal when really it's not.
Yeah.
You know, you may
Yeah.
think it's normal. Yeah, but really it's not. You may say, well, I normally talk in this tone. No, you're not. You're raising your voice. Well, I'm just being passionate. No, you sound like you're angry. It just depends. So Those are the things that, when you have people around you that can really help you to understand what you're dealing with. And plus also, it's like if you get to a point of being like emotionally and mentally tired too, that could also open the door for those kind of reactions to happen. So it's really about being aware of that as well. And I tell people that it's subtle. It doesn't
Mm-hmm.
happen all in the moment. It kind of just is a collective of things that happen day by day. Before you
Mm-hmm.
know it, it's like, here you go. There goes the pressure cooker. Here it goes. There it is.
Yeah.
So.
I found myself that what I was doing was, if I hear about, someone got killed in domestic violence, especially if they was pregnant, I find myself all of a
Mm.
sudden I was crying about her, either just crying for no reason at all. And like you say, you
Mhm.
had a mentor, and I thank God that I have my daughter, my baby girl. She's my baby. She'll always be my
Mhm.
baby. And,
Mhm.
she made me aware of things that I'm doing. Like if I'm, so busy, just walking around, I'm not even aware that I'm doing this. And she
Mhm.
said, you keep going from this place to this place to this place. Why don't you sit down? And I thank God for her because she showed me where, okay, you need to sit, you need to breathe, you need to
Mhm.
say she taught me about boundaries. No, mom, you're not gonna do that. The answer is no. So she keep me grounded. And
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
and I thank God for that. And then she could point some things out to me that I may be experiencing that I'm not aware that I'm experiencing, and then I can take it, to my therapist and talk about it. But one of the things, to one that I found myself, you know, I had forgiven him for it and everything. It was like
Mhm.
I all of a sudden I want to know why,
Yeah.
and I never
Yeah.
want, I want to
Yeah.
know why,
Mhm.
and it was like I took on blaming myself. Okay.
Mm.
And
Mhm.
so, and I talked about this last time we was on the show, and I just pushed it aside. And finally, I was going down to Jamie's house to go down there, and I was down there, and I was on my way, and the Lord told me, say, go find him, and I'm like, go find him. I don't know where to find him because the house he was living in was burnt down. And
Mhm.
so it was like the Lord was directing me, telling me to go this place or go there. And when I went and I was at this place where he told me to go, I'm like, he's not there. And then he drove up. And
Mm.
I asked him, I said, why?
Wow.
Why did you shoot me? Why did you kill our baby? And this is what he said because he had been in the hospital. He said, well, I had this bandage on my arm. And he said, I didn't mean to do it. I had the gun, but the gun just went off. And so in my mind, this is what I'm getting ready to
Mm.
say, Dr. T. I'm getting ready to say this. Wait a minute. Anytime you have a gun, you went in the room to get the gun. We was in
Yeah.
one. I'm getting ready to tell him, yes, you did. And all God said, no, don't say nothing. Just listen to him.
Mhm.
So he finished and he said what he had to say. I really didn't mean to do it. I have asked God to forgive me and but he never told me
Mm.
he was sorry. Okay.
Mm.
So when I pulled off, and it was like something that came up out of me. And
Yeah.
when I was talking to my therapist, and she kept saying, how did you know where to find him? I said, I told you the Lord led me that, but anyway. And she kept saying, and I said, it was like I no longer have to live the lie to protect him like he didn't mean to do it. Now it's
Right.
him. He
Right.
has to live with the lie
Mhm.
because I am free. And before, I never felt like I want to know why. But because, my therapist was saying, because you're in therapy now, these things will come up. Things are coming
Yeah.
up that never came up before.
Mhm.
So I want you to encourage someone that, it might not be domestic violence, it might be
Yeah.
whatever trauma. I want
Mhm.
you to encourage them to tell them, about getting the help that they need.
Yeah. Well, the whole point of what therapy does is really helps you to unpack the problem and to also find a way to solve it. You said that you were looking for the reason. The question started coming up once you've been going to counseling. Why? Maybe beforehand, years ago, you didn't want to know why. Maybe there was a fear. Maybe there was a fear there that if you found out then why, would you be able to process what comes with that why? Maybe it wasn't meant for it to happen then, but now that you're going through the counseling process, you're in the place that you will be able to face the issue for what it is. And that's what therapy is, everybody. I'm going to say something that I know some of y'all probably not going to like, but I'm going to say it. We were created in humanity. God created us as human beings. He also created us for connection. He never desired us to operate in isolation. That would be going against the very humanity God created us in. There are journeys in life when we've experienced trauma or experienced hurt, or whether it be assault or whether it be a grief. It's not meant for you to handle it alone. There's some things that you can unpack or try to figure out or try to understand on your own. When you go to therapy or you go to counseling, you're talking to somebody that is non-biased to say they're looking outside, looking in. They're going to give you a lens to look through that you may not have thought about within yourself. Because more than likely, you're not going to. Because when it's kind of like you're right up on a building and you see everything, in front of you in the building, but you don't see the whole building. You don't see the whole level, the high level of it. So that means the therapist is meant to help you see the whole thing, the high level, versus you seeing it right in front of it with your tunnel vision. And so I'm encouraging you that it's going to help you open your eyes to yourself, because here's the thing. I know it's kind of fearful because it's like, I don't know if I'm going to be able to handle the emotions that come up. I'm wondering if it's going to overwhelm me. I get it. But that's what therapy's for. They're there to help you navigate that journey.
Yeah. And she was telling me that she said that I had chronic PTSD, and she just decided what she's doing now. And I had the interview probably 2 weeks ago. She recommended me for home-based therapy. And so, and I was, when she said home, but I said, you mean I'm gonna have it at home? She said, they said, no, you're not gonna have it at home. You can have it at home, but really, it's really deep. What is it? EMDR?
EMDR, yes.
Yeah. And so, so I'm looking forward. I'm looking forward to that. I'm loving this journey. Like I said, I thank God for you. I thank God for what you're doing. Don't stop. You are making a difference. I know you're making a difference in my life. Not only me going to get therapy, I'm now in school. So
all right now.
I'm in school, Dr. T. I'm in school, and and I'm learning about trauma, and I'm just enjoying this journey that I am on. And I realized that God will bring people into your life, and you never know why. But because of what I've been listening to you, what you've been saying, I'm taking it all in, and I say, you know what? I need to know more.
Yeah.
I need to learn more. And I can truly say, I know God first. But God used people. But because of you. So before we go on any further, if you're dealing with domestic violence, or you're in a domestic violence relationship, like we were saying from the beginning, that they have passed a law where how much money you getting? $5,000 now for relocation now. It used to be $1,000.
1,500.
Huh?
Right. Used to be 1,500. Yeah.
Yeah, it used to be 1,500. So if you're in a domestic violence relationship, you can pick up the phone and you can call domestic violence hotline, which is 1-800-799-7233. You also can call Favor House, which is 850-434-1177. You also can call the military. They have a line that you can call if you're in a domestic violence relationship. It's 877-995-5247. And you also can call Jamie's house, which is 850-291-4647. 4624. And we only have just a few more minutes, and I'm going to leave that few more minutes. And I know I'm going to have to bring you back. I know that. Um, I'm going to have to use that few more minutes for you to tell us what program are you over now? What is the name of the program? And tell us a little bit about that program.
Yeah, sure. Well, first, I mean, I kind of have a twofold roles, if you will. I am the founder and CEO of Beacon of Hope Champions Ministries, LLC, which basically focuses on helping people to be emotionally and mentally well so they can spiritually grow. So I do a lot of work with faith leaders and faith communities in reference to bridging the gap between mental health and spirituality. Also, I am the director of programs for NAMI Emerald Coast, which is National Alliance on Mental Illness. Emerald Coast covering Escambia, Santa Rosa, Okaloosa, and Walton counties. We are the largest grassroots organization in the country with 650 affiliates across the country and focusing on peers and family members that deal with loved ones with lived experience. I do serve as director of programs as far as work, doing peer-to-peer classes, family classes, so family support groups, peer support groups. We also do what's called the WRAP program, Wellness Recovery Action Plan, which is really helpful for people no matter what walk of life you're in, whether you're going through recovery. And basically the whole point of it is to help people understand that recovery is possible and that you can live a life that's healthy, even if you're going through, been through trauma, if you've been through domestic violence, but it actually helps you to learn about yourself, becoming the best expert on you and being aware of yourself, and helps you to develop even a crisis plan that in the event that something happens, you have something in place saying, this is what I want, this is what I don't want. This is who I want there. This is who I don't want there. This is the treatment I want. So it basically helps you advocate for you. It helps give you a space to give you a voice. And so I happen to be an advanced level facilitator for that. And also with NAMI, I do serve on the state level as a representative for our FaithNet program, and also on the national level as a member of the executive committee for the national NAMI National FaithNet program, doing what I'm doing with faith and mental health. I just recently spoke in Atlanta at the national conference, sharing with them about that. And so that's basically the gist of what I do, along with other things, dropping gems here and there when I can of wisdom and things like that, just to help people. And and that's basically what I'm doing. And hopefully, as someone that survived domestic violence myself, in in 3 relationships I've been in, and to know how that it's possible to overcome. But I always tell people healing is the journey, but wholeness is the destination.
Wow. I see my co-host. I see he done came up. Yes.
If you want, take your time. This stuff is important. You want to continue, go ahead.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
You can extend it. We don't get a chance to do this. We don't get a chance to do this but once a month, okay? And so this subject is too important just to skate over, okay?
Thank you very much. Okay, and another thing that I heard from, I think, 2 individuals, they were saying that they have one-on-one counseling with you.
Yes,
okay.
Yes.
So
I'm a board certified professional mental health coach.
Okay.
And so this is why I tell people I'm not a clinical therapist, but I am a person that comes in as a coach to do the preliminary preliminary intervention to determine that if you're able to go through the coaching process, which really you have to be a little bit more high functioning for that, versus, if they're not at that point of being high functioning, I always recommend them to therapy. But I recommend that you can do both. You can go to therapy as well as get coaching, because here's the thing, therapy, like you're dealing with right now, helps you unpack the problem, the problem solving, and unpack the issues and things that are the reason why you have the feelings that you are having, and give you tools on how to navigate it. I'm the one you come to saying, okay, after you get all of that, you still got to learn how to live a well and healthy life after. What does that look like? What strategy do you have going forward that after you got this counseling, what can you do to continue to have a daily routine, a daily maintenance plan to help keep you well?
Okay.
And then also, what can you do as far as if a crisis does happen, how do you approach it? So that's what I do in my one-on-one sessions. Is usually, I'm kind of like you say, like I said, I'm a coach with the cap on, saying, all right, I'm here just kind of show you what's going on. But at the end of the day, you got to come up with the solutions. So it's solution focused. That's
Oh,
the
okay.
difference. Okay.
Okay.
It's solution
Okay.
focused. In other words, I'm there maybe to point things out, but the goal is to hope that you see within yourself, you got the solutions in you. You just got to find them. They're already there in you. You just got to figure it
Mm-hmm.
out. And
Mm-hmm.
sometimes it sometimes means facing up the truth of what you're really feeling. No
Wow.
longer lying to yourself.
She said, yeah. Yeah.
No
Yeah.
longer lying to yourself,
Yeah.
allowing the
Yeah.
emotions to tell the truth. And
Yeah.
so, so I do a lot of one-on-ones with that. I do virtual meetings. And so, you can go to my website at beaconofhopechampions.org and you can actually go on my calendar and set up an appointment. And I'll consider myself to be a kingdom resource to the
Okay.
community. That's what I am.
Okay.
I'm the kind of person that says that, hey, I'm here to help you succeed. I want you to be healthy. I want you to be successful. I want you to fulfill everything in your God ordained purpose. And I want to make sure that you're healthy while you're doing it.
That's great. That's great. It is much needed. I truly believe that, sometimes we want to reach the masses, but if you just reach one,
There you go.
and that one is connected to three or four. You follow what I'm saying?
I
Just
do.
like someone came and told me about, what you was doing. I think they said, but they were saying they was going to counseling with you, and they were saying how, how great it is and how it's helping them so much. So, and at Jamie's house, we don't just provide a place for a family. We believe in helping people in the community as well. So whenever something comes to me and I feel like that Jamie's house can play a role in helping, that's what I like to do, because even with this opportunity that I have now, to be able to spread this information, is someone that's helping me, which is Vernon, WBPQ. And he's helping me
Good.
be able to get the word out, and he's blessing me to be able to do that. So in return,
Yeah.
we like to bless someone else. So me and my partner in crime, Vernon, and then my daughter Nancy also. What I want to do, what we want to be able to do is, and you and I will talk about this, I want to be able to sponsor someone for at least 2 sessions.
Okay. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So
Yes,
if
ma'am.
wait, well, listen to me now. So if it requires 4 sessions, they have to be able to say, well, you know what? I'm going to make sure I go through the whole program. If I'm going to sponsor 2 and it was required for you to have 4, you're going to have to pay into it also. So
Right.
I want to
Right.
be able to, do that to help a woman. I want to be someone either in a domestic violence relationship or someone that has gotten out of a domestic violence relationship,
Amazing.
because
Yes.
it's very important. Vernon and I, we're on this road. He's on this journey with me, and his radio station, TV station has been so supportive. And also, he has the radio show now, Vernon in the morning. And what he does is, like, if you have something going on, you can pick up the phone and call Vernon and say, I want to talk about this, what I got going on. I think you got something coming up. Is it in August or September something?
Oh, yes. What I'm getting ready to have coming up is in next month, as a matter of fact, is the 3rd annual gathering of healing. It's July 11th, Saturday, July 11th. This is something that NAMI Emerald Coast is hosting, and it's part of a community conversation series on
Okay.
sharing hope that actually focuses on mental health and the impact on Black and African ancestry. And
Okay.
that's going to be from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. on Saturday, July 11th, 2026 at Project Ministries Worship Center, where Dr. Norman Baker is the pastor there. And he's also our vice president of our board. So it's going to be there at that facility right in the heart of Inslee, right in the heart of where the inner city is, if you will, with Wedgwood, Lincoln Park,
Okay.
that particular area, where the actual communities of color that we're actually going to talk about and address. It is free. We do ask that you do register. I do have the flyer as my cover photo right now on my Facebook page, along with the link to be able to register. But also we're going to have Dr. Vanessa Phillips, who is the Assistant Director of the Escambia County Health Department, as one of
Okay.
our keynote speakers. And then also I'm going to have one of my good close friends, Raheem Pfeiffer, who is a
Yeah.
clinical therapist, and he currently serves as the director of social services at Pruitt Health. But he has experience working with at-risk youth and in that clinical therapist area for almost close to 20 years when he was working in Montgomery. So he'll
Okay.
be there as well, along with, we're going to do a special presentation in memory of Dr. Irvin Williams from Lakeview Center, who recently
Oh, yeah.
passed on
Yeah.
last year. And
Yeah.
we're going to present something special to Lakeview Center, being one of our long-term community partners in honor of him. And because
Okay.
he was our first keynote speaker at our first gathering of healing. So, we want to honor his memory, honor his work, and we're going to do that also as well. So definitely come out for that. I'm excited. And I'll get with you, Vernon, definitely, because I have that going on and some other
Well,
things. So
Dr.
I'll
House,
definitely make sure of that.
Dr. House, this may be your lucky day.
Really?
It may be your lucky day if you're available tomorrow morning at 8 o'clock. I had a cancellation
Oh,
for tomorrow. And
okay.
if you're welcome, when we finish this show, I'll send you the link for it. It's a different link for in the morning, and we can talk about all those good things. And mental health
Yes.
is something that we need to talk about in our community as well. So we talk about
Yes,
mental
I
health
can
and we
do
talk
it.
about what you got going on. All right. When
Yes,
we
I can
get,
do it.
I'll let y'all continue. So I'll send you a link tomorrow morning. Okay. And now if you got a flyer or something. And by the way, if you got anything going on, you too, Carolyn, y'all got a flyer, anything that you need me to promote during my morning show, you're more than welcome to get it to me, and I can promote it for you. So if you got a flyer, Doctor, if House, if you got a flyer, send it to me. But I'm going to send you a link, and I'm going to create a promo for you. I mean, a flyer so we can promote it in the morning. I know it's late, but it's never too late.
No.
To help people. Never too late to help people.
Never, never. This is just divine timing. So I'm very grateful. Thank you so
Okay.
much.
Very good. Okay, y'all continue.
Another thing that I want to ask you, and it was a lot of, talk about, the guy that killed his children, the 8 kids and stuff. You heard about that, right?
Yeah.
So a lot of people were saying, okay, he had mental health issues and this, that, and this and that. Now, this is what I said. Now, I might be wrong, so you can correct me if I'm wrong. Okay.
Okay.
And I was saying that I don't really believe that. And the reason why I don't believe that is because he told her a year before he did this, if you leave me, just like my ex told me, if you leave me, I'm going to kill you. And so it was like, it was already in his mind to do this. And it was like, he already knew exactly what he was going to do. He went and checked himself in to VA to have that information in case, something mental is wrong with me. How do you feel about that? Because a lot of people think when someone does this, that they got a mental illness. They think if they kill their whole family or they take their loved ones out, they got a mental illness. They want to blame it on mental illness. What do you have to say about that?
What I have to say about that is that the reality is that's the reason why a lot of criminalization of mental illness is happening. It's very small, the percentage of people who are truly mentally troubled or ill.
Would you say that again?
It's a small percentage, real small. Because believe it or not, it's the majority of those struggling with mental illness that are on the other end of violence, not the ones that they're actually causing it. A lot of people don't like me to say that, but it's the truth. Because why? Because a lot of what people do in these domestic violence situations is premeditated. If it's premeditated, you cannot associate that with mental illness. You might associate it with someone maybe being sociopathic. You might associate it with someone who is just basically angry. But you can't associate it with someone that's mentally ill because you got to do the anatomy of this, or the chemical imbalances in this person's brain, or the things that they may have inherited that's not their own. Is there something that traumatically happened to them that's caused them to have this particular behavior or particular, because remember, it affects the thinking.
Thinking,
Because thoughts and decisions and actions are connected. So it's a small percentage of people that do that. And I will give you an example of that. Recently, they passed the Tristan Murphy Act, which basically is legislation to help people who normally would be dealing with mental health issues not really fall into the prison system so much. They get to give them intervention at the beginning, right? Someone who may be dealing with a mental health issue may not need to be in prison because prison systems don't have the ability to help people who have these issues. And what happened to this young man is that, unfortunately, because of where he was schizophrenic. He was schizophrenic. And he just happened to be out on a work release one day, and unfortunately, he took his life.
Wow.
So the criminalization of mental health is something that we're advocating and we fight a lot of, because a lot of people automatically think because you got a mental illness issue that you automatically are predisposed to violent behavior. And that is not true. There is no evidence scientifically or medically to prove that link at all.
Thank you. I appreciate that, because I was thinking about, they were saying, he killed the kids. He killed shot at the girlfriend and the other children's mom. But I noticed he didn't kill himself.
Right.
See,
right.
He didn't kill himself.
Self-preservation right there, because basically, listen, you can do things in the heat of the moment when you are in that place of anger. That can shift your thinking, because remember, when your emotions override your rational thinking, you could do things like shooting people, even though they may be even innocent. Unfortunately, these children, and you could say that, well, it's because he was with it. No. He had it in mind to do it, and when he was angry, he decided to just basically just continue going. He could have stopped.
Yeah.
Obviously, he didn't kill himself, right? So in other words, it would have been different if he was having a mental illness where he may be thinking these are people who are threatening my life. Right. They're about to attack me. This, it could be this whole thing that in their mind it looks like this. Then yeah, probably I could see how that could be the case. But like I said again, that's a low percentage of people that do that, because they're more the vulnerable minority, not the majority in those cases. So I mean, if he knew to preserve himself, that means he already had in his mind how it was going to go down. And I'm just saying it. If it's premeditated, you cannot link that to mental illness.
Yeah, and that's what some people don't understand. And I think that was one of the things that I overlooked when he said, if you leave me, I'm going to kill you. And we just take it as being words. We really don't think that's going to happen. We think they're just saying something. And I think that's where the victim, that's where we miss it. We just think they just say it. But if you listen to what they're saying, they will always tell you what they're going to do. They always, and then once they tell you, then you don't realize, you think that everything is okay when they started strategizing when I'm going to do it, how I'm going to do it, because he made sure he went and got the other two children, put them all together. They was at the other mom's house. So he went and got them and put them all together. So this was something that he was strategizing to do. And we have to stop. As long as we keep, it's like we're telling people like, it's okay because they wasn't in their right mind. No. He was
it's not okay either way.
It's not either okay way. If it's in your mind or not, you're right. Either way, it's no. It's yeah.
But let's flip it on the other side, because it's mostly men, Black men in most cases, in a higher rates of suicide. Let's flip it over to the other side of this. Men normally are the ones that complete the suicides. They're the ones, not the women. It's more men that do it than women. Why is that? Because normally when it comes to men, they have it set in their mind how they're going to plan things out and how it's going to work, and they see it all the way through. So just like it is on a suicide case, it could be the same way on the other side of this when someone premeditates and they're thinking about how to plot and plan or what they're going to do to carry out something. Because that's what normally what men do. So that's the case. And that's why in most cases in these situations, you see mostly men doing this.
Wow. You're so right.
You see men mostly doing. You don't see women doing this. Yeah. You see men doing this. That's why. Because they're more intentional about doing things by lethal means.
Okay, so we have a man, my partner in crime. What you want to say about that partner in crime, Vernon?
Everything you're all saying is, just on point. And if people don't think about it, I agree with you. People try to chalk it up to temporary mental illness, and they stressed out. As you were saying, that's premeditated. And you're right. It's men. That's why we're having this show, Carolyn.
Yeah.
That most men do the domestic violence. Maybe a few women.
Yeah.
But most men are involved with this. So we got to get to the source of the problem. And I agree with you wholeheartedly. Yeah.
Yeah. Because a lot of it is because a lot of it is, and I share this a lot of times, is that most men, and I'm going to talk about Black men. Listen, like I talked about my brothers. I love y'all, my brothers. You don't have the skills to process your feelings. You feel like, in most cases, that's why a lot of Black men feel like they have to resort to lethal means to solve a problem. When you end up trying to solve something that's a temporary situation with a permanent solution.
Wow.
By a gun. Because you don't know how to process the anger or the hurt or whatever it was that causes you to feel like this is the only way to solve the problem. Not realizing that you're ending a life, thinking that's supposed to give you relief, and it doesn't.
What do you, Dr. House, what do you tell men? What would you advise them that are in these situations, or how can you advise other men? Because sometimes women can't get through to men, Sometimes what can you tell me so I can tell them about how to manage this thing here?
Tell them that it's okay to take a breath before you do something. Give yourself 5 seconds. Just 5. Just 5. To just breathe for a moment and then just stop. Just pause. For some people, that can make the difference between a life and death situation. It may not change anything at the moment, but at least at that moment, you can pause enough and say, do I really need to do this or not? Because a lot of times when we go on an emotional rant and we go and we act on our feelings, when you do your actions fueled on those feelings eventually leave.
Mm-hmm.
And when they leave, what damage has been done? You can't go back and change that, can you? That's the reason why I believe that for most men, when you say you fine, you good, no, that's just fine, abbreviation for feelings never explained. You're choosing not to deal with what's inside of you that's brewing. And so no one's saying you're weak for dealing with your feelings. You have them for a reason. But emotions rises and falls. They come and they go. If your actions are being based on things that are not dependable, which is all your emotions, you're always going to get in trouble. You're always going to end up with, it's going to be a bad situation. It's going to be where, if you pick up a gun thinking that's the only way it's going to fix it, and you end up shooting people and killing their lives for something that really they had nothing to do with, that was your own pain that you chose not to process. And instead of processing it, you take other people's lives that have nothing to do with what you're dealing with.
Right.
You're dealing with. And I think that's the hard truth that you as a man can say, because if you're a real man, you're not afraid to deal with the truth of yourself. You're not. But if you're feeling that you have to kill other people to try to get relief, what's wrong? Something's wrong with that picture. That means you're deflecting what you're refusing to deal with on the other people that had nothing to do with it.
Wow.
Oh,
Yeah.
So,
And
yeah.
then I know as being I know my husband, my good husband that I was married
My
my
goodness.
good husband that I was married to. And we as women, we just like to go on and on. And so when we would get in an argument, what he would do is he'll get in the car and he would want to leave. And what I would do, Dr. House, this is what I do. He'll go out the door and I'm running behind him and he's driving off and I'm holding on. I'm steady trying to get that last word. But he said, I'm not going to argue with you. I'm
right.
not going to be the man that you used to be being with. That's not me. You want me to hit you, but I'm not going to do it. So,
Right.
yeah, he said, no, I'm not. And it was like, I was trying to provoke him to do something, me not being aware of it, but he wasn't that type of man.
Right. Right. And we do
But
that. We do
because,
that a lot. We do that a lot as women. We do. I know.
huh?
We do that. We do that as women. We do that a lot, especially when we've been programmed to that kind of behavior, that
Yeah,
kind of environment, that kind of drama. Because we feel like if that's not happening, something's wrong. When the
yeah,
reality is, it's unhealthy. Period. Altogether.
yeah,
And men normally are not ones to want to be confrontational. That's really a lot of times not their nature.
yeah,
Especially if you kind of, doing all this fussing and all this stuff and everything, man, by the time, even those who don't even go there like that, they're going to be like, hey, whatever, I'm got to shut you down, right? I'm shutting down right now. I'm getting quiet.
yeah,
And what I have learned with that is, especially when it comes to allowing, giving people, a place for men to learn how to be safe and be vulnerable and to be able to open up is that a lot of times the nagging and the fussing is what don't help. A lot of times just being quiet
yeah,
and maybe being open to listen to what they have to say, even though you may not like what comes out their mouth. Give them space to let them be acknowledged. Give
yeah,
them space to let them be heard and seen, because that's what you want. Give them the same courtesy of that. And so even though you may agree or not agree with it, at least they'll know that, well, at least you heard me.
yeah,
Sometimes that's half the battle right there.
yeah,
And then all the other stuff, you'll figure out. But we you'll leave me. I guess maybe I've gotten to a place in my life that I've gotten so chill now. It's like I'm not gonna be the one fussing like that. I don't have enough energy in myself to do that no more. I'm gonna say what I say, and I'm gonna mean what I say, and I'm gonna be quiet.
yeah, yeah. But do you think a
But
lot of it too come from where, men been taught, even as being little boys and stuff, if they cry, why you whining? You just whining,
oh yeah,
they're not
it's a
able
lot
to
of that.
show their emotions. You
Yeah,
follow? And if you're not able to show your emotions, it's going to come out some other kind of way.
and
Anger,
it will, and it
violence,
will.
it will.
And it will. And I think that's the thing that I think I remember my former pastor telling me that. I remember him telling me that now it's a process of being retrained to do the opposite of what he was taught.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
It's unlearning that.
yeah,
And really, a lot of the whole crying stuff and all that, it was really things that men were only teaching because of what they only knew, but really what they knew was in error.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
And that is the thing that we're unlearning. Why are we trying to provide space for men to heal? That's why you see a lot of things coming out now when it comes to mental health, when it comes to men, even this month being Men's Health Month, coming out and trying to give men space to be safe enough to be vulnerable. Because a lot of the aggressiveness and some of the anger and some of the what's the word, the numbness that they may have is because of what they haven't processed in themselves yet. And a
yeah,
lot of times we're just thinking they don't want to talk. No, you don't know where they come from. And now a lot of times, like in my sometimes I ask, men and in the situations like, well, what happened? Where did this? What
um,
happened to you?
yeah, yeah.
Not saying why you acting like that. No,
What happened?
what
Yeah,
happened to you?
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Ladies, our time is about up now. We only got about less than 2 minutes.
Oh,
Uh,
okay.
less than 2 minutes to go here. But I do want to remind everybody to tune in tomorrow morning, y'all, and check out Dr. House on Morning with Vernon. At
Oh
8
my
a.m. we're gonna
gosh, look
talk
at the flyer. Love
Yep.
it.
See, I
All
got
right, you got to
skills.
send
See,
me that. You got to send me that. I love that.
I will send it to you when I send you the link to the show tomorrow. Okay.
Thank you.
But anyway, y'all want to go ahead and wrap it up, Carolyn, and talk
Yeah,
about any
let me
resources and so forth.
Yeah, let me tell you about the resource. I hope that this has been help someone on tonight. This is the reason why we do this, is to help those that might be experiencing going through the same thing that I have went through, Dr. T have went through, and others. You must know that you are not alone. There is always someone that has been through the same thing that you've been through or going through. And we want to encourage you that you can come out. You can come out, and there is resource available. But in order for you to come out, you have to come out of silence. My mom used to teach me that a closed mouth won't get you anything. So you need to pick up the phone, and you can call 1-800-799-7233. That's National Domestic Violence Hotline. You might not even be ready to come out. That's okay. But at least you can get the information. So when you're ready, you have the information. Also, Favor House is 850-434-1177. And then the military, they have a hotline also, which is 877-995-5247. Also, you can call Jamie's house, which is 850-291-4624. And also we have what is the Red Cross, the 211 number. You can call the 211 number. All the resources. You need somewhere to stay. You need someone for rent. You need to someone to talk about getting your protected order. They have all that information. You cannot come out if you do not have a plan and do not have the information. Information is powerful. And you will find out that you don't have to stay in the shape that you're in. You don't have to go through that. And also, you can get in contact with Dr. Tawana House. You can call her. Give us a phone number. Give us an email address, Dr. T.
Sure. My phone number is 850-529-3307. And the best way to reach me is beaconofhopechampions.org. That's one word, beacon, BEACON, of champions with an S.org.
All right. And make sure you tune in the morning with Vernon. And in the morning, and you'll be able to, Dr. T will be on in the morning. Thank you so much for tuning in, and we'll be back on next month, the fourth Thursday of the month at 7 p.m.
All right, ladies. Thank y'all. We'll see you next month. In Dr. House, we'll see you in the morning at 8 a.m. Put it on social media, because mental health is something that we need to talk about in the Black
absolutely.
community. Absolutely. Yes. All right. Thank you, ladies. And Carolyn, I'll see you next fourth Thursday of the month.
All right.
Put that on your calendar, everybody. Every
Good night,
fourth
everybody.
Thursday of the month. Good night, y'all.
She's now an advocate against domestic violence, hoping to create a home for victims here in Pensacola.
And when I turned back around, a shotgun was facing me, and he shot me.
Williams was shot in the stomach, killing her unborn baby she had named Jamie.
She saved my life. You're not alone. You're not alone. And if I came out